All right. Hey guys, so we just wanted to give you guys some updates before we head into our first wedding next week. We know things are going to be a little different, especially with all the new rules. So this is kind of an overview of what we've gone through. Some of these things might change as, we get experience and stuff. But this is just a few general guidelines for starting. So we'll just kind of take turns going through things. If you guys have questions once we're finished, just feel free to give us a call, text, shoot us an email, whatever works for you. So the first thing, this is kind of a miscellaneous thing. We did get the vacuum fixed and they put new batteries in it. So with batteries, if you're plugging them in all the time, they're going to start to rely on the charger. So just be sure we're checking the battery levels on the vacuums and only plug them in when necessary. So this is just the riding vacuum. So yeah, just check the battery level. If you're not sure, ask your banquet manager or ask one of us and we can let you know, but we don't need to be plugging it in every time that we use it. So then kind of going into the COVID stuff, this is going to be a lot of rules and regulations, and these are the decisions that we've kind of decided on. We have to follow bar and restaurant ruling, but there's kind of some gray areas, so this is just kind of what we've decided on. So to start, everyone will be required to wear gloves. Servers, bartenders, and banquet managers can kind of decide depending on what tasks they're doing. But you're going to want to make sure you're changing those frequently. So every time you are starting a new task, so if you're going from dishwashing to polishing silverware to clearing tables, make sure you're changing your gloves in between each of those tasks. If you're going and clearing tables and then you go to a new table, you don't need to change your gloves between each table, just between tasks. The next thing would be masks. So we're kind of leaving this up to the client. If the client wants you guys to wear masks, you will be required to wear with them. I know it's not ideal, but that's just kind of, we want them to feel safe. So if that's what makes them happy, that's what we're going to do. If they say no, we will still have them available and you guys can wear them if you want to. So then we'll leave it up to you guys. But if the client requests it, we will have you guys wear them. We will also be taking your temperatures when you guys arrive. This is just for a safety precaution in case, somebody here does get sick, a guest that comes in, and they try to bring it back to us. We can just say, hey, we checked everybody's times. So they will be getting recorded. Your banquet manager will check those once you come in. So that's going to be the first thing that happens when you guys get here. And then the next thing would be no phones. I know we normally try to say no, and I'm usually pretty lenient with this and letting you guys kind of have them back there and if there's downtime, checking them, but they're just big carriers for germs. So they're going to go in the box, they'll be put in the office, and then when you guys go on your lunch break or dinner break or whatever, you can ask for them from the banquet manager, but as soon as your break is done, they need to go back in the box. And don't touch your phones with your gloves on. So put your gloves or put your phones away, wash your hands, put your gloves on, before you do any of that. So that's what we have to start, and then Franklin will start talking about servers specifically.
Yeah, so once you come into work, we want you to hang your coat near the name tag station in the back, and then hang up any personal items. We don't want them on the table where we normally leave them, so just put them somewhere, hang them up, and then put on your name tag and your chef coat, and then wash your hands right away, and also probably put on gloves right away, and then, yeah, like Kelly said, we'll take your temp as well.
A couple other things. We are now going to have servers hold the front doors open as guests arrive. So you'll be assigned to that task if that pertains to you. And we'll probably leave the indoor section of the doors propped open. So it'll just be the outside doors. That'll just limit contact and touching the door handles by multiple guests. So again, that'll just be upon guest arrival, maybe 30 minutes or so. We'll have a couple of you servers out there opening the doors for guests as they arrive. We also are going to have you wipe down commonly touched surfaces every hour or so. Things like door handles, doors into the bathrooms, those kinds of things. We are going to have you guys wipe those down about every hour just to make sure we're being cautious there. Floor plan wise, tables are now required to be 6 feet apart. So there's going to be quite a bit more space in between tables as you guys are clearing. So just be mindful of that. We are back up to having 8 people at every table, but we are not allowed to have more than 10. So the head table will not have more than 10 guests at it unless the stage is sectioned 6 feet apart. So as of right now, we're limiting that to 10 at one section of the stage. And as of right now, we are not allowing dances just because it is hard to ensure that people are staying 6 feet apart. So this may create that weddings end a little bit sooner than normal, maybe 9:30 or 10, and you guys can get out of here a little bit earlier. But just be mindful of that. People may be doing more items like games or karaoke or things like that to help fill some of that time. We are not going to be serving food to the head table or any grandparents or anything like that. We're just trying to limit our contact with food and guests and things like that. So we will not be serving the head table like normal. When that changes, we will let you guys know then, but for now that will be the rule. And all drinks are going to be at the bar. So water, lemonade, coffee, everything but punch will be served at the bar. To help kind of with the flow, we're going to be adding a cocktail table on the edge of the bar, where we're going to have the bartenders serve glasses of water and just kind of fill the cocktail table so people can come up and grab one a little bit quicker rather than having to wait in line with people who want cocktails or beers or things like that. So keep that in mind if you are, Kelly will talk on that a little bit more, but if you're server one, you'll have to keep an eye on that in the bar. Place settings, we are no longer putting salt and pepper, water pitchers, or water goblets on the tables. It'll be up to the client if they want their silverware wrapped on the table or put at the, buffet line. So just keep in mind when you get here, a lot of that stuff will be taken away from your guys' tasks. No salt and peppers, no water pitchers, no polishing glasses, all of that you will not have to do upon arrival. And Kelly's gonna kind of pick up with some more tasks.
Yeah, so as we talked about, all the beverages are going to be available at the bar. So server one, instead of refilling this self-serve station, you'll just have to go to the bar and refill there. Now, we don't want you guys going behind the bar, so if the coffee and the water are not available for you to reach from your outside the bar, just ask the bartender if they need to be refilled. They can hand you the canister and you guys can go bring them to the kitchen, fill them, and then bring them back. So you're still going to be filling those. You're just going to have to go to the bar and do it instead. We don't want you guys also hanging out in the bar area. So we're just going to try and limit the amount of people that are over there. If we have 3 bartenders and a banquet manager, that's already 4. And we kind of have to stay under that 10 people. And I would ideally like to stay less than that. So just no hanging out in the bar area. If you want your beverage, you guys can get one beverage. Just go one at a time to go get those. If you want to grab one for a friend, they're fine with you touching their cup. You can grab for them, but we just want one person going at a time for that. The punch. So we're still going to have a punch station available. Clients are going to provide somebody to pour cups of that for their guests. And it is going to be an enclosed dispenser. So instead of a bowl, we're going to get a enclosed dispenser so that they can fill those and it's still covered. But you guys will still be responsible for filling that. So just check that really frequently. So since that's the only beverage that's kind of out for people to grab right away, we're going to think it's going to go a lot faster. So just make sure you're checking on that a little more frequently than you normally are. As far as eating at the break table, I know sometimes you guys go over by the server station and hang out with the dishwashers and stuff. We're going to try to avoid that at all costs. Try and only eat at the break table. This is just going to kind of limit where all your plates and silverware and napkins and stuff are. So only eating at the break table as of right now. Stay away from eating at the server station. Kind of going off of that, we want to make sure we're sanitizing that table after you guys eat. I know a lot of times it just kind of will wipe the crumbs on the floor, but we need to make sure we're spraying it with sanitizer and wiping it down that way before polishing any silverware, just to really limit that contact. I know we talked about wearing gloves between tasks, but one I think that this might get forgotten for is putting away centerpiece items. Those are something that our clients are going to touch, and they might not wear gloves when putting them out and decorating. So when we bring those back in, we need to make sure we have gloves on when we're polishing them and cleaning them. And again, when you're setting them out for the next event, make sure you're wearing gloves when setting those out. Chair covers, normally if they're clean, we'll reuse them for the next wedding, but just to kind of avoid that contact, if they've been used, they need to go in the laundry hamper to get washed. I'll take them home and wash them with chef coats, or they'll get sent over to the Holiday Inn to get washed with our white skirting. But they're not going to get reused at all right now, and right now we don't have enough weddings that we're not going to run out. So no need to worry about that, but yeah, all of them are going to get washed regardless of how many times they've been used. And we are going to have updated section lists. So the section lists like these, when you guys come in that have all your tasks for the day, I'm going to update these so that they're more relatable to the rules that we have now, because some of these items we either won't be doing the normal way or we won't be doing it all. So I will have updated lists for these, so just pay closer attention to those and make sure you're marking off your tasks when you go through. If you are a server, this is the end of the server notes, so you guys can go ahead and stop listening. If you're a bartender or banquet manager, hang around for just a little bit more. We have a little bit more details for you guys.
Yeah, so in the bar, we're going to be doing an extra bartender to handle all the money. So we'll typically have 2 bartenders making drinks and 1 doing all of the like cash and card transactions. And then another thing is, don't open any of the packaged cups until they're needed, just so they don't get that like extra exposure. So just leave them in the package until you need them. If guests are going to be using a card, encourage them to start a tab so we don't have to keep going back and forth with the card. And yeah, encourage them to do that. And then we'll also require the hand washing station to be set up and make sure that we wash our hands a lot. And if you leave the bar, make sure that you change your gloves and then wash your hands again. So if you go back to the cooler to grab something, or for any other reason you leave the bar, just get rid of your gloves, wash your hands, and put on a new pair of gloves. And another thing, I know we often use like reused keg cups just to save time, but I think we should definitely make sure they have a new cup every single time so we don't touch the spout on the kegerator as well.
Correct. All right, so the last thing we have is for banquet managers. So if you guys aren't banquet managers, you guys can go ahead and stop listening. But banquet managers, we really just want to lead by example. Your servers and your bartenders are really going to follow what you guys do. So if you're not wearing your mask when you should be, they're not going to think they need to. Same with gloves. Make sure you're taking your own temperature when you come in. If you don't take yours, they're going to, ask why they need to have theirs taken. So just make sure you're really leading by example. I think that's the best way to make sure that the team is doing what they need to. And it just keeps a more positive outlook on everything. Kind of going off of that, don't be afraid to remind people. I know these are a lot of new rules, and we'll kind of have an example of this on your banquet notes so that you can refer back to it if you need to. But don't be afraid to remind people, like if they're doing something and they have their gloves on and they shouldn't, let them know. If they don't have gloves on and they should, let them know. They might have to redo a few things, like polishing silverware. If they forget to put gloves on, or they forget to change between tasks, they might have to repolish those silverware. So don't be afraid to remind people. I don't think anybody's going to take offense to it, especially in these first few weeks. And if you have any issues with it, just let us know. And I know we might have missed a situation here. So if something comes up and you're not quite sure, you don't see an answer for it, feel free to make a decision in that time, kind of based off of the knowledge that we've given you. Make an educated decision, and then kind of just take note of it. You can write a note on my desk, leave a sticky note on the event notes at the end of the night. You can just write it down, say, hey, this situation came up, this is how I decided to resolve it, and then we will come back and we'll decide if the resolution you had was a good one, or if there's maybe a better way we can go about it. But yeah, just make sure handle it. You don't need to call or text either of us unless it's something you really want our opinion on, but we're going to trust you guys to make an educated decision yourself on that. That's kind of all we have for notes and details and rules and stuff for you guys for now. We'll update as things continue to change. We're getting new rules and updates regularly here, so we'll update you guys as well for that, but we'll probably just send out a post. But that's kind of what we have for you guys for now.